Good morning. Good morning. Truth Disclosure 369 in the house once again. Got my buddy Midnight the Battle Cat in the background. Another day in this Twilight Zone era. Getting on here just to quip about a couple of things. Those may come across this video. As I say, each time I come on, I greet each and every person in the universal greetings of peace. So I want to just get into the first thing I want to talk about really is just seem like now all of a sudden this whole income tax and the argument about the IRS and is it credible and um should it continue to still be something that is accepted as normal operations in this country, uh, which is good to hear that this conversation and this debate is up out here. But is it genuine? Is the debate genuine? Is the debate genuine? Really? I mean, when a person look at it, we've been focused. We've been having the income tax system since I know since I've been living in this country since I've been born, and mostly everybody that's been here and now have been here have when they were born into this country. This is the setup that has always been here. So it's almost like, yeah, maybe there is a lot who fear change, who don't think it could be anything other than that. But all my incidents with this tax has always been negative. There has not been one positive thing about the IRS, not one positive thing about the interactions with the taxi. Maybe it's just me, but when I hear other people saying the same stuff, then I know it's not just me. But when you look at other people, are people in different income brackets? Are they having smooth sailing, or are they dealing with the same type of? I don't know. I don't know people who are considered to be um, millionaires or whatever and know what things they go through with their tax things. But one thing I can say, my interactions with them have always been um, negative. And the recent stuff, I'm still in the middle of some stuff. Look, you got to look at this from a standpoint of a lot of people understand that okay, you need taxes to do certain stuff in the country to support certain things. You need to pay taxes in order so the military people could be paid. You need to pay taxes so uh, uh, government programs can be paid, which a lot of them are useless when they're not they're not affecting the people who actually are paying into these, paying taxes. I mean, what's the purpose of paying taxes on government programs when the programs are meant to help facilitate programs overseas or with people constantly with people that's coming over here, denying other people who really should be first at bat. I mean, that's just a realistic thing to look at. You need taxes to uh, supposedly to help in the scientific field. So a lot of taxes going towards shit that a lot of people don't even know is going toward. Like, when you look at the Fauci and the Wuhan, taxpayer money being used on these experiments, and 9 times out of 10, these folks that's why they're keeping this stuff under wraps. But it's out. No matter how much they try to hide it or sugarcoat it, taxpayer money help probably promote and put this crap out here that has destabilized the world. But that's just a theory. They say it is. But also, you know, even in state and local taxes, it's the same thing. These taxes are supposed to be meant to provide, that's how county, city workers, all this stuff supposedly get paid. And you see there's nothing wrong with that. But the overwhelming thing about it is, why the fuck are so many people being never understood the tax system when it comes to a lot of people use it to their advantage. Kids be used in this thing. And it's sad when you see it, but unfortunately that's the only way a motherfucker can get more money back from them. So, this is how it go. That's not genuine, man. That's not a genuine society. So when you see people using it for shit like that, just to try and get ahead or get a little extra money from a program that's from a system that's supposed to be legitimate to keep things in proper perspective, yet the country has a debt out that's going to be impacting so many generations to come. You have a debt that the taxes cannot pay in no time near future, and these folks still want to sit up here and act like it's not a problem with this system. So it is a good thing for people to be bringing this out and talking about it. My incidents with the IRS was playing. I worked my ass off and even had my family, who's no longer even here, help pay on taxes back taxes that I owed because I couldn't afford to pay this shit. And just simple as that. Because the work that I did and the time going through a bankruptcy and all that shit, I just couldn't pay it. So I ended up paying, I ended up working, paying that stuff off. And lo and behold, after you doing everything you can to try and live according to this fake code that's out here, you still get fucked. Here it is. We in 2023. From 2020 to now, it took the IRS damn near 3 years to pay taxes, the refunds back from 2019, 2020, and it still wasn't what you would expect when it comes to them applying interest to, because they apply it on your stuff automatically, and won't give a hoot or a second thought. But when it comes to them and their fuck ups and their shit, nothing. So not only did they from 2019 to 2020, they held up all these taxes, turn around in 2021, we end up owing them because of, and this is the stupidest shit that I could even imagine. It's like a slap in the face, a fucking slap in the face. We are owing them just because of a late filing, owing the IRS for late filing fees and all late filing and shit for 2021 when this sorry institution has had taxes from 2019, 2020 held up, and they want to slap a motherfucker with a fee for a late filing fee for 2021 when you ain't even got 2019 and 2020s out. So my accountant, the person that does my taxes, this is what was done to try and alleviate having more taxes held up. And so we end up penalized for trying to look out for our best interest because these bum motherfuckers at the IRS holding up shit. Not only that, I have a probate case in the city of Detroit, which is one of the most sorriest court systems there is in this country. And a person can say what they want to. This system is the city of Detroit. Most of the local city, municipal apparatuses are fucking bullshit. You don't get professional help. They do a lot of shit that don't make fucking sense. I didn't even know that the courts were even still closed to people even going in, but since 2020, since my parents passed away, they they have had uh, ample time, the IRS, to do an estate tax, which that was is implemented too. Here it is, 2023. I have a house property that's sitting in in limbo because these motherfuckers continuing to hold up an estate, and then the city of Detroit, and there's in the probate court, uh, in its most illustrious lousiness, uh, just in limbo, just sitting here, just waiting on IRS so the courts could do something. I even mentioned this to my attorney. Like, why the fuck don't they ever say it? Because it's, you know, as far as you trying to reach out, I've had my accountant reach out to the IRS, and every time it's always some a long stay. If you even get through, you can't never get to nobody. And then when you do the same shit dealing with the city county with the court probate, the same fucking shit. I'm like, how, what the fuck? And then people act like this shit supposed to be like this shit happens and oh well, I guess motherfucker just got a bad deed. But then it's not just me, it's a lot of people. But you see how this shit um really brings more negative energy than anything. So the to even be speaking on this is something that is good. I look at it as a blessing because it's leading to something else. But look at here. Let's look at this. I want to show this article here, and this is something that's being promoted by the GOP, supposedly. I mean, these are the ones who are up here harking about the Fair Tax Act. House to vote on bill to abolish IRS and replace income tax with fair tax. Seems like a good dude. Who wouldn't want? You would be a fool to sit up here and keep thinking that what's happening now is fair. You have people out here who be wanting to get little more of their money back that they work for, and you got other people around. Like I said, that's a big argument. People are calling out people who using their children and have children just to try and get deductions and all this stuff. When people who don't have them, they have to pay more. People who are not married, who are single, you have to pay more than a person than people who are married and filed together. That shit don't make no fucking sense. And it ended up anytime a motherfucker end up having to pay more, and it's like they working, they putting their energy out there, they doing this and doing that just to be and these people who are getting who are getting blessed with these returns a little more or whatever, this could be the most scoundrelous people. And it's just this is not a worthy system. It never has been. So, and then when you throw in the fact that these folks continue to send taxpayer money elsewhere, but it seems like when a person brings up anything about the taxpayer being relieved from the bullshit that this institution and this fake ass tax code that was implemented after the fact, not when everything went down as far as the foundation of this country, and years later. This shit came years later into the scene. But let's look at what they say. The Republican-led House will vote on a bill to abolish the IRS and replace the existing income tax system with a wide-reaching consumption tax. Let's see. Republican House passes bill to block boost to IRS funding and hiring, which makes sense. I mean, what the fuck would you need to hire all these new IRS agents when you don't even have motherfuckers on the phones to answer this shit about people who have their taxes been waiting on refunds for 2 to 3 years, maybe more. But yet you get all type of letters in the mail screaming about, oh, you owe on this and all that shit. This penalty was applied to that. And you get this shit on a regular cycle. But here it is. you can't even get an update on what the fuck is going on with your taxes that these folks have been holding for a couple of years. But yet they somehow have the energy and the income and the manpower to sit up and hire more people. Not for that reason, but for the reason of harassing folks, doing audits, doing all that other shit. Don't that doesn't make any sense. Not only that, but they're also armed. You know, it's almost like they, and we know, and this has been something that's been said. We know who the people they would go after. It would not be these same folks that Elizabeth Warren. And let me go to that. It won't be the same folks like she be talking about, like go after the rich and all this and the wealthy people who avoid certain things or you use loopholes. It won't be with against her buddies or her friends and the rest of these line folks around her. It'll be people who literally are struggling, people like me, like you, like everybody around us who stuck, who are already in a position because of this sorry ass institution. And these will be the folks that'll be harassed and sought after by this corrupt organization. And people will sit here and laud it and will sit here and justify it to the T, seeing what the hell this shit is doing. Now, they brought this bill out here, and I think yesterday they was sitting up here, the Dems are lambasting them about this shit. So let's see, Democrats lambast GOP plan to abolish income tax and impose 30% sales tax. And this is Elizabeth Warren, hypocrite, lying ass, and they're trying to show exactly how out of touch they are. How is that being out of touch? What have Democrats done over the last couple of years that have gave any taxpayer any relief? What? It seemed like anything, motherfuckers have gotten hit more in the pockets. Not only by the Democrats, but by the Republicans, because even though these GOP are coming up with this shit talking about they want to speak on the Fair Tax Act, nobody's talking about all that money that they're sending over to Ukraine and all these other countries. Why? But they won't say nothing about that. Especially GOP. They ain't gonna say everything else is wrong, but when you speak on the part about, well, what about taxpayer money going over there? What about all these weapons and tanks and all that shit and all that stuff that you taking out of our arsenals and all that shit and you sending over here? And a lot of people still don't know the truth about really what's going on. People can sit up and believe what they want to believe, but hey, to each their own. But why? How is that? How does that even work? How is that even an issue? That you do not even speak upon. I mean, look, that's taxpayer money. That's taxpayer money that's behind that. So with all of this inflation, all this shit, both sides have literally helped to advance that shit. And when it comes to the income tax, you literally had Democrats sitting up here talking about that this will increase and will work against those who are less, who are lower on the less fortunate people, when everything that's going on now is already impacting people of less fortunate circumstances. So what the hell? So let's see what Democratic progressive lawmakers are criticizing the GOP for an extremist tax plan that the Republicans are planning to soon put a vote in the House that would completely overhaul the tax system to blatantly favor the rich. Now that's the shit that they will say. The Democrats sitting up here talking about that every time you bring up taxes, that everything is going to be on the rich. Right now, the shit is right now it's favoring the rich. It's always been doing that. This argument has been going on and on, back and forth, back and forth. Motherfuckers want to continue to use this rob Peter to pay Paul type of mentality with this shit. And a lot of people seeing that this shit don't work no more. It's not adding up. People are going through too much and having to sacrifice so much and get little in return. This robbing Peter to pay Paul, this lady here, Elizabeth Warren, talks all this shit about wanting to tax all these folks, but they're not going to do it. They know that the majority of these people are the ones putting money in their fucking pockets. They not caring about that shit. They don't want none of these folks investigated. They don't want none of these folks paying taxes like they should, because that means that they shit up. They are wealth run to be dried up. That's why all this shit is completely geared on the nobodies, the people out here that's struggling. That's fucked up, man, when you look at this shit. So anytime motherfucker bring this shit up, then you gonna have motherfuckers sitting up here trying to override or talk down and criticize something that could really be freedom for everybody. Because they don't want to lose that control mechanism that they have with this fucking tax system the way it is, because it's bullshit. So these folks will sit up here and what seems, I'm gonna go ahead and read this. And what seems to be a concession to the most far right members of course, you know, they got to use all that dramatization. Don't even fucking matter. Far right, far left, all of them ain't shit. And what seems to be a concession to the most far right members of the Republican caucus, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has teed up a vote on the so-called fair tax bill. The bill will get rid of all federal taxes, including the state taxes, in which they're stealing from people uh, properties and stuff that loved ones left behind to family members or whatever, and then they got to have their hand in that shit. And corporate income taxes, abolish the Internal Revenue Service in place of federal taxes. The bill would impose an effective 30% national sales tax, a number that could easily balloon in the future. But how is that when we sitting up on a $34 trillion debt that'll never get paid off? And you worried about some fucking balloon. And then this goes to the next thing. Why all this shit is a scam, and why people are so ignorant and continue to ride with this dumbass shit and ride with their own enslavement, debt enslavement. Debt enslavement is not freedom or not living according to the principles of the creator. Debt enslavement is bullshit. That means, you know, a society based on credit, based on living off what's not there. that's doomed to fail, and we see it. But this is the thing: these folks will sit here, and I think about that song with Pac, where it said they got money for wars but can't feed the poor. That is a fucking legitimate, truthful statement. How the fuck can this government constantly, when they claim they don't have this, and you hear both parties arguing back and forth about what they can do and what they can't do and all this shit, they come together and kumbaya when they agree, especially when it's time to send money out the country to bullshit. But they'll come together, but they'll sit here and claim they don't have money for mental health programs. That shit gets slashed. Anything dealing with any type of thing to deal with just people and in the social environments. Anything dealing with people and trying to better people and trying to help people, especially those that are dealing with issues, you know, mental health, the housing, homelessness, and all that stuff. They don't never have the money, or they're always screaming about they running out. Even in here in the city of Detroit, especially in areas where you got casinos and all this shit, or lotteries and all this stuff. You got all this fucking money floating around from all this stuff, but yet they never seem to have money for the shit that needs to be done. And, you know, they always got to be, well, we're gonna have to raise taxes on this, we're gonna have to raise taxes on that. But then they'll sit up here and they'll actually print money they don't have. Like they'll literally go in and say, okay, we're gonna get a $5 million, $5.1 million and send it to Ukraine. They're literally, or we're going to get a package just like they did with the COVID package and other little packages. They come the Build Back Better package and all this stupid shit. They will literally not have the money for that, but they will go and print that shit, get that shit printed up, send that bullshit out to everybody else where it need to go, except for you, may give you a few crumbs, and then balloon the debt behind it with all this interest and all this shit that all of us eventually, we the ones got to pay this shit. But when it comes to the homelessness, when it comes to people out here in this so-called American dream that is really a fucking nightmare, um, and all of the shit programs have been slashed over the years that was needed to help certain people. Maybe a lot of this stuff that's been transpiring, we had these programs, it could cut back on a lot of that stuff, but no, we don't have the money for that. But we can go ahead and print money for bullshit. So if it's just that easy to print money, why the fuck won't the government print enough money then since we're already in debt? We're already fucked up. Generation after generation. Well, if you're gonna do it like that, why don't you print enough? Why don't you print to cover homeless situations, to cover the bullshit that's going on and to have these programs and all that? Why? Why won't you, if you can print money to go on some bullshit? A lot of times it's shit that a motherfucker don't even know about. If you can have money on secret space programs, that's taxpayer money, like different stuff that a motherfucker never knew they even had going on. Well, how y'all paying for that? Oh, taxpayer money. Well, we didn't know that. I don't want my taxes going to that shit. I don't want my taxes going to nothing that I don't. They have. You haven't given me no knowledge of. Why should I have to be having money taken out of my shit or anybody to go to for something that we don't even know exists, or you won't even come out with the knowledge of? So they would do all this shit. They would create money out of fucking thin air, send that shit over there, help to boost the fucking debt up, then be crying about it, how inflation started. Anybody in their fucking right mind should know how this shit came about. Oh, if you've been around the last couple of years, you should already know. But when it comes to trying to help, when it comes to the infrastructure, oh, we don't have the money, so we're gonna have to what the fuck? So you mean tell me y'all can't print the same amount of money y'all just printed this sending Ukraine every fucking 3 months? Y'all can't do that shit that's gonna benefit the people here? Get the fuck out of it. That should be that should have been a blurb. And it took me a while to see it like that. As when I was younger, I used to always say that I didn't trust the IRS, I didn't trust this tax system. It just didn't make sense. Inside, it never made sense. A motherfucker just do it because this is what supposedly everybody's supposed to do. Hell, my family, that's all that everybody do. Everybody expect to do it. You run across people who say they ain't never done that shit. They owe this much. Motherfuckers be trying to do this and audit them. And well, it's like you hear them stories, then you wonder why, you see why people do that shit and put themselves in that situation. And you see these motherfuckers who they go after, they may have a name for themselves. One person I can't think of is Wesley Snipes. But then when you think about it, you got people who well known who owe the IRS, but you don't see their ass being gone after. And that's one, Al Sharpton. This motherfucker here owe millions in back taxes, but you don't see none of you don't he got a show on NBC. And he all in the limelight when it come to, but you never hear nothing of very about that shit. And then they make you out to be a criminal and all this shit because you're not doing it. But look at what the fuck they're doing. Half these motherfuckers like her lying ass, hypocrite, fronting ass, sitting around here acting like she really want to go after these folks that's putting money in their pocket. All these CEOs, all these rich people, these donors that make sure certain things that are needed to be legislatively passed and put in place so that they can make money. They have to go through these fake motherfuckers in Congress so that they could go ahead and come up with the legislation that allow these companies to get paid. And of course, when they get paid, all these lying fake motherfuckers get paid as well. All the Schumers, all the Pelosi's, all the Grahams, all these sorry motherfuckers that's sitting up here talking all that shit about what the fuck is going to affect people. That's kind of so fucking a slap in the face. These folks, the Democrats, are literally sitting there saying that to even consider a fair tax would mean putting people in harm's way after the harm that's already been placed on people right now. And people are supposed to sit up and soak that. And it's sad people sit up there. You're right. They are trying to do that, and they barely can even stand. They barely can keep their head above water now, and they sitting up here listening to that bullshit. Makes no sense. So this is the irony of this shit. You have a government, you have a fake ass, faulty government that's falling apart that will literally print money only for selective shit. Will print money when it comes to getting a profit. Because all the money that's getting printed that goes toward Ukraine, that goes toward all these different projects that supposedly meant to help or aid people. All that shit is feeding into the doctrine of you getting paid through all these subsidies, all these different stock affiliations, all that shit. So, the military industrial projects get played through this shit. The pharmaceutical industrial project get played through this. So it's the same shit. Everything these motherfuckers talk about and argue and act like they sitting up here arguing about it, making it seem like they arguing about it for your benefit. It's only thing they worried about is they straight. They can sit up and talk all that shit all they want to. If people continue to believe that shit, that's on that individual. But they can sit up here and talk that shit all they want to. They looking out for their best interest, especially in a time like this, where all this uncertainty, all this shit that this sorry ass government and fake ass politicians have caused, not only here, but everywhere else. And the sad thing about it, these motherfuckers will sit here and they're doing this shit everywhere. All over the planet got that dealing with their own little issues with their government and the taxes and all this other bullshit. But they'll sit here, they'll implement shit like at Davos, the World Economic Forum that was happening last week, that also feeds off of taxations and all this shit, which is also money getting sent somewhere else. Like, why the fuck is people that don't even supposedly aren't even our elected officials speaking on how the fuck taxes and all that shit work with us? And it's blatantly obvious. It should be a no-brainer when this conversation about abolish income tax should be heard. It should be ringing from sea to shining sea across every American or a person who claim they're American. They should be seeing this shit for what it is. This is the same shit that started this whole mess in the first place back in what? In the 1776? You know what I'm saying? Last time I thought the Boston Tea Party, that's what all this shit was about. Taxation without representation. How do you go from a country that was founded on those principles to a country that literally accept that same shit they fought against and see that it's destroying everything? But it's that fucking indoctrination, and it's that, let's go along, get along mentality, bullshit, bull fucking shit. So you have a government that sit here literally, and that's ironic. Every time I think about this, these folks are literally have money to do everything else, but when it comes to all the folks suffering out here in the streets, across the city, people who are literally working, people who work, people who have legitimate jobs who are trying to get by and can barely do it, people who have in situations barely do it. They literally do not have nothing for you, but they'll have everything for other shit. Well, why can't y'all print that stuff for everybody? We don't want to balloon the debt. It's already ballooned, motherfuckers. Sad, man. I just wanted to get on here and share that because it's so hurtful and disgusting to see these sorry people sit up here and play with something that's literally, when you're talking about abolishing this shit, you actually beginning to opening the door to true freedom. This shit is nothing but an enslavement system. It ain't got nothing to do with no fucking chains. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody cracking no whip. The whip that's being cracked is pay these fucking taxes on time, or we gonna apply fees and interest, and then eventually we're gonna come after you and take everything. That include property taxes and all this shit. Everybody running around here acting like they own something. Man, we don't own. The reality of it, nobody owns shit unless you go through the proper protocols and get the proper deeds and proper this and proper that. Other than that, you are doing nothing. You're paying taxes on land that the government still owns. And you're just paying taxes to be allowed to stay there, man. In a country in which everything was stolen. It's crazy, man. Doesn't make any sense. So I just wanted to get on here, and I know and have a deep rooted intuition that this is coming down the wire anyway. That this shit is gonna fold because all of the corruption, all of the it's a new time, it's a new era coming in. It's changes are coming, and a lot of people are scared to face them because they so used to this bullshit, man. They're so used to being in debt slavery. They're so used to being talked to like kids, like you can't understand, or you can't use critical thinking, or you don't know how to look past uh look past the bar and see something else on the other side that may be what a motherfucker truly needs to continue to move forward and evolve. And of course, do it in a way in which you're not stressed the fuck out. But the way we doing it now, come on, man. These folks literally owe people for the last 3 or 4 years, man. And folks sitting up here every time they turn around, they talk about they done collected this much collections from people. Yet motherfuckers still crying about they ain't got the money to do this, they ain't got the money to do that. Everything's going, oh, we about to send more tanks. We about to send tanks to Ukraine, which is helping to boost supposedly nuclear armed countries, which is helping to lead this where we won't need none of that shit. If we let them let them keep going at it, shit, we're gonna be in nuclear war anyway. So who cares? And it almost seems like that's what they're doing. And if they push it to that far, we know that these sorry motherfuckers, it's not gonna affect them. They have their bunkers, they have their secret places to go that taxpayer money then built that you don't know nothing about. So when you wiped out, they can come back out and act like they ain't have nothing to do with the shit in the first place and start over and run that same scam on some more dumbasses. It's ridiculous, man. People better wake up to this shit. The IRS ain't shit. Motherfuckers sit here and justify paying this bullshit every year, looking at these folks constantly whittle away at your motherfucking money. Then when shit happen in society, just like it's been happening on that, they justify certain means to get deeper in, get deeper in. You know, the outrageous shit that these they're doing with the property taxes and in the cities and even the state shit, you know, that they do to try, oh, we got to do this, you know, but what y'all can print money. Y'all can print money. Fuck that. Y'all can print money out of thin air and use that shit for transgender studies in another fucking country. The fuck out of here. But y'all mean to tell me all these folks in tent cities across the goddamn country? What? And this lady talk about, oh, we gotta tax the rich. The rich ain't paying their fair share. You know, that same old line ass shit, but then these sorry motherfuckers won't show they shit. They talk all that shit about Trump. And mind you, Trump is not no savior. I'm not bringing his name up because I agree with shit he say, but they talk all that shit about Trump, about his taxes, come out that, okay, he lost. He lost money. Okay, well, why don't they show Pelosi and all these other high-ranking motherfuckers, Maxine Water in hot water? You know, that black woman, that a lot of black folks, oh yeah, she represents black courage in Congress. This sorry motherfucker stealing and doing all type of shady shit right along with these motherfuckers. Get the fuck out of here, man. So everybody should be wanting to see a change in the tax shit, man. if this country would, and you know, the lie would be, the whole distortion would be that, oh, because back then they can't be compared to now. You got more people, you got this, you got that. That's why, out of here. Get the fuck out of here. There was times when this country was in a simple. What if they wouldn't hide and lie about history? There were times in this country where it was industrial, just wasn't industrial like it is now, but it was industrial, and the motherfuckers didn't have no tax code. They didn't have no tax. A lot of times, the first tax began to see and throughout history came about during the Civil War when they were supposedly fighting for everybody's freedom, black folks' freedom, and fighting for the country not to be split. And then so you needed money to you know, to help fund this war. And then they won't talk about where that money came from. They won't talk about the fact that money was borrowed. This was leading the way to a central bank being here, that money was being funded. Same motherfucker funding the gray was funding the blue. Kill each other. I don't give a shit. I always make sure you get that tack that interest on there and make sure you get paid. Matter of fact, let me have some say so in the next congressional hearing. I got something I want to add to it. That's what the people behind the curtain do. Is all the sovereignty of this country been gone. So every time motherfucker think these folks speaking on behalf of you, no, they're not. So this is something that, you know, it's going to come to pass. It has to come. This has to be addressed. The IRS and federal taxation system is a fucking sham. It's been a scam. People have been screaming about this stuff for years. Every time people say something, you have your own people crabbing the barrels trying to bring you down, talk about how much this shit is needed and all this other stuff. Yeah, okay. But unfortunately, that type of shit there is not, you know, the reality of it, and the bullshit that has been told is not linking. It's not, it doesn't link together. It will never link together. This shit is falling, it's crumbling, and people should just let it crumble. Let that shit fall. As a matter of fact, speak out. You know damn well this shit is foul. And to sit up and continue to go with this shit and then sit up here knowing what's ahead for the next generations to come until this shit is addressed and you know, a conclusion comes about from addressing this issue. And all these folks need to be held accountable. Every person in Congress need to be held accountable for the bullshit they've been doing and have been allowing to go on, and the shit they have been refusing to speak on. Every last one of them need to be held accountable for that shit. You know, the ones that cheerlead certain shit while they breaking the bank, while they breaking everybody, but they cheerlead the same shit that they're breaking, and then something else that may be the benefit, they talk bad about it. Cherry picking shit. They all need to be held accountable. Both sides. Because when you look, and I've been saying that, I guarantee when you look at their portfolios, every last one of them straight. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. You may be having to deal with a loss and all this shit because of what did happen. You know, you can't even get straight answers from about the FTX scandal. And this woman here, this lying ass Elizabeth Warren, you won't get no questions about what happened to all that FTX money and all that shit on people that got fucked over. And here they is talking about how the income tax is going to be an issue. And they've been corrupted, doing corrupt shit with the FTX scandal through that bullshit. And, you know, that's just one thing. It's not even going to go into all the other stuff. But something that could help everybody, they got something to say about it. Fuck out of here, man. All these folks that they claim as they talk about, like Martin Luther King and all these folks, would be standing against this shit. They would be saying, fuck that tax. That stuff is fucking over people, especially the poor. It is not worth it. And it's not worth it. The middle class, everybody's being hit by this shit. And you motherfuckers sitting up here reaping the benefits from it because you ain't got no choice but to reap the benefits because the people you work for, which is not the people of the country, but the interests, you know, the corporate interests, these are the people who y'all work for. And that should be told. All these folks in Congress or in administrations that worked at these corporations and just find jobs in the government all of a sudden, or then they leave the government. All of a sudden, the head of these corporations. This shit ain't made like that. They ain't like that for a fluke. So get the fuck out of here, man. All these folks sellouts, man. They are fucking all sellouts. They're all benefiting off the backs of everybody that has been lied to all these years, confused by all the rhetoric and all the propaganda from both sides clashing together, and people stepping on one side of the fence saying, "Oh, I'm over here, you over there," and all while that going on, they fucking the hell out of everybody. It's sad, man. But I just want to get on here and share that because this is something that's is gained steam, and I pray the truth comes out through this. Because when at the end of the day, there's God has this, and anybody trying to justify this shit and put God's name in it, the truth, the source of peace and truth, you put God in it, it might be a God of bullshit. I'm just being real. Everybody is different gods out here. We are gods according to Yahshua. So you got people. We are reflections of the infinite creator. But the infinite creator, this stuff here, there's no love there. There's no unconditional love there. And all this is impose my will, get profit, keep your foot on their neck. That's totally against godliness. So in time, as days go, I pray that we continue to see truths come out because these folks, the IRS has left a lot of people in lurches right now. And it's like I'm still waiting on this shit with the state, and it's like it's ridiculous. It is sad and it's ridiculous because at the same time, these are institutions, these are that you're supposed to have respect for, supposed to have all this admiration for, to bring all this stuff into your life. All this shit has been doing, all this stuff has been doing, bringing hell to people's lives. So good riddance. Everybody should be on board. But with that, I'm gonna get up out of here. I pray everybody continue to have a blessed day. Continue to monitor this shit about the IRS and the tax, and also hopefully the truth about the Federal Reserve, which I spoke on, all that stuff come to light, and everybody understand we've been had. Damn, we fucking been had, man. Sitting around here arguing too much burns with yourself to understand that we fucking been had. We got to call into account, hold people accountable for that shit. The same spirit of 76. They say the spirit of 76. So the spirit of 76 needs to be resurrected, not incorporated into this bullshit. Get the fuck out of here, man. So with that, I greet you as I came, the greeting words of peace.